So hello everyone, welcome to Just in Time Genie
Hello.
from both Carol and I. Today we're talking about rewriting old stories so they don't get in the way, and we can also live new stories, not keep recreating the same ones. And today I think Carol and I are just gonna chat.
Yeah. I think this is such a favorite topic for people to talk about, because I think there's a lot more information about this now. People are really thinking about this a lot more. You know, our stories, where did they come from? Are they ours? Or did they come from the beliefs and teachings that were handed down to us? You know, do we go to the beat of our own drum, or did we stay on the groove in the record? And if you've been following some program that was handed to you, can you change it?
And the answer is yes.
Yes, yes, you can, because beliefs are simply thoughts that have been thought over and over. And these beliefs show up in the brain as these neural networks, but we'd always been taught that we couldn't change that. But now we're knowing from science it's not fixed, and we can literally change our neural pathways by changing our thoughts and beliefs. It seemed like something that was so science fiction, and it actually can happen.
Right. And there's three key thoughts I had to share on that one. The first one is very often um, they're blind spots.
Hmm.
So we might be aware of some things, like if I'm a yeller, I can obviously identify that that's because my mom was a yeller. But there are other stories that we learned or that were somehow passed on to us that are blind spots. They're not so obvious. They're not so easily accessible. And
Exactly.
they drive our thought processes. That was one thought. The second thought is the old neuroscience concept that uh, neurons that fire together wire together,
Yes.
right? So if you have that story, every story that complements it or goes and agrees with it will stick to it and make it deeper and stronger.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think look at your beliefs, all of them. Are they yours or not? What do you want to change? And start taking action. Practice day after day with your new thoughts. Write them down, help you focus on them. And if you're diligent, you will start to see changes because you are rewiring your brain.
Correct.
And to give more probably of a personal example, Ellie and I were talking about this before we hit record. I had a victim mentality for a very long time, because of my personal relationship, even in my professional life. And, you know, things were being done to me. And yes, there might have been some things out of my control, but I had choices. I had choices to leave situations. And I really put myself into this imaginary jail that I can't get out of this. This is the hand I was dealt. This is what I'm going to have to deal with.
Right? Yeah, I'm totally with you. And we were saying um, that very often we're not taught to notice that we're making choices. So they're not necessarily conscious, which is why we don't believe we're making the choice. Like we always think we don't have a choice in the matter, but we
Hmm.
are choosing constantly. And
Yeah.
until we learn, and this is the work that Carol and I do, this is until we learn how to identify the choice and change it, which is uncomfortable at the beginning because it's going against what you know. In mindfulness, we call it a cow path. If you can think of all these cows trampling on a path every day, if somebody puts a tree there and creates a new path, they're going to keep going down that path where the tree is several times, and they need to keep choosing the new path. And that's the same for us. It's keep choosing is the discomfort of doing something new. Um, the thing, Carol, is how do we help people identify those old stories? So for me, when I'm talking to clients or I notice myself, some of my old stories can come up very innocently, and things like I'm not a cat person. Where'd I get that from? No, I'm definitely a dog person. Where did I get that from? Or, I'm not meant to be rich,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm never gonna. I've caught myself talking to my husband and saying, "I'm never gonna make the money you make."
Oh yeah,
Where did I get that from?
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so that's a way of identifying some of the underlying beliefs and stories that Carol was saying. Take a look at them. Is when you say, "I'm not." How do you finish that sentence? Make a huge list of those,
Yes.
and look at that and go, "Wow, where did that come from?"
Exactly. It's having that awareness. And it's funny because what you call the cow path, I was calling the groove in the record. It's all the same thing.
Right?
And kind of changing that. And yeah, I think it really is about being aware. And we hear so much about that, self-awareness and emotional intelligence and paying attention to, all these cues you're getting from other people, being aware of that. How are you coming off that, when you're telling your story? Um, and doing that self work. And sometimes it does. It helps to have a mentor or coach to help you identify the blind spots, but you can really start with yourself. Like you were saying, Ellie, so if I took my story of, let's just say, my ex-husband, and our relationship was horrible, and I had the whole victim thing written out. But if I really look at it from a factual standpoint, it helps take the emotion out of it, and look at everything kind of in a linear, what was the linear progression, at what points could I have exited that relationship.
Right.
um, and you can become, I don't know, it's weird, it's almost like you're stepping outside of yourself to
Yep.
observe.
And here's another one, especially with relationships or friendships. When you look back and you ask yourself, honestly, did I have a gut feeling that I knew this was going to be like this? And so then go back to that moment where you first had that gut feeling and didn't believe it. Right there, there's a self limiting belief. There's like something that's telling you, I don't know, I can't be alone, or, you need to give people a chance. I don't know, but there's a belief underneath that conscious gut feeling that you overlooked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we know, and we always know when a relationship isn't going to be right. We always know, and we just don't listen.
We don't listen. Oh my God. As you were saying that, I'm thinking about times in my life where, for me, I feel it in my stomach. I mean, it's literally that gut little, it's almost like a butterfly, but not in a good way.
Right.
And you just absolutely know. And I think, before we wrap up this video, to help people be a little more mindful. I mean, we given us a few tips, kind of writing down your story. Um, I think for some people, they have trouble getting mindful and kind of getting grounded. So I just want to do, so grounding is feeling calm and present and in your body. Um, for example, if you've ever been driving for a short time and suddenly you realize, like, oh my God, how did I even get from A to B? That's a sign that you're not grounded. So mindfulness helps us get to that place of calm. And Ellie, please add, because this is really your area of expertise, what helps us get kind of to that space where we can really observe our thoughts in an objective way.
I think the simplest way for not, especially for non-meditators, is simply to sit down, make sure we feel our feet on the floor, butts on the chair, um, and just create a little bubble around ourselves and just go, ooh, body scan. Just check from top to bottom and really go back to your feet on the floor. That's one way through mindfulness. Then you have beautiful visualizations,
Yeah.
over what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know we've jumped around, but there's so much to this, and there's so many people that can benefit from the rewriting your story so that it serves you. I mean, because what is the point? And people might be saying, okay, but then what happens? There's so much joy that comes out of looking at things in a new way, reframing things to realize you're where you are today, you're who you are today. because of all of that. And you don't have to look at all of it as a bad thing, which is what I did for many, many years.
Right. No, I think this is more about looking at the places where we know we're not liking it, it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And taking a look at the choices we make there,
Yeah.
and then saying, well, what's another choice that's going to serve me, and what does that mean for me going forward? So for me, it might be that I let stress take over and I comfort eat. So I've put on weight, and every time I've put on weight, I've said, well, but I'm not feeling well. And so I've made the choice to keep eating, and I've made the choice then, even if I was lacking energy, not to go out and do the exercise because I was lacking energy. So I hid behind I'm taking care of myself and resting.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a choice I've made. And so if I'm
Mm-hmm.
now not comfortable in my body or in my relationship or in that job or with this friendship, then it's about, well, how do I, in a dignified, leaving everybody and including myself whole, start doing the right thing for myself?
Yeah,
Take a different
exactly.
choice, take a different cow path or a different whatever, which
Yes,
creates a
yes.
different story, right?
Yeah. And we have that choice. We have the ability to write whatever story we want. And
Right.
I don't think a lot of us truly believe that,
Yeah.
because we've been conditioned not to, but we truly can. So
Right.
I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Like I said, there's a lot, and I'm sure we'll be touching on some of this again because it is such a big topic, but we'd love to hear your comments and some of your own stories. How did you rewrite your own story?
Right. Right. So take care of yourselves and see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.